What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. I know I did not upload on Monday, but I had difficult getting the video up because files kept getting corrupted, and I decided I'm not going to do the little gaming series. A, it's not a gaming channel. B, it doesn't even relate to college football. It's more pro football. So I decided to scrap it. So for those of you that were looking forward to that, I apologize. But we're going to go ahead and continue with college football content on this channel. This video is going to come out a little bit later than I would have liked it to, but I'm going to be giving you my way too early top 25 poll for the 2021-2022 season pre-spring games. So I'm going to do one after all the spring games have been played, maybe towards the beginning of May, somewhere around there. But this is my thoughts on the top 25 teams in America before spring games. So if you enjoy this video, leave a like, consider subscribing down below. It's free. Also ring that bell so you know when I upload. You can leave a comment, and also please share this video and help grow the channel. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get right on into the video. Now, before I start talking about these teams, I do want to say first and foremost, I'm sorry that this side where my camera is so blank. I promised during the season there's going to be more stuff there. I just don't know what to really put in that section quite yet. Trust me, though, there will be stuff there. At number 25, I have Ball State. So Ball State was a surprise coming out of last year. They won the Mid-American Conference to my surprise, and then they went out and beat San Jose State, another pretty good team from last year. And Ball State's returning a lot of production. They're returning their quarterback, Drew Plitt, who played at an elite level last year. I think Ball State's going to be a top 25 team in the country. I think people are underestimating Ball State. I feel really, really confident in what this team can do next year. At 24, I have Penn State, and yes, albeit there are questions with the Penn State Nittany Lions, but they're getting a transfer at running back. Can't quite remember the name of him quite yet, but I am going to do a video on transfers in a couple weeks or a couple months. Can't remember when I've planned it, but I am doing a video on some key transfers. Maybe might have to do a couple videos. But Penn State is getting a transfer at running back. Sean Clifford should come back. There are a couple key pieces on the defense that are coming back. It's just going to be that wide receiver position again for me. There's going to be a lot of guys that need to step up, and they need to step up on the defensive side as well. Of course, they're losing Micah Parsons. That transfer running back should help them, but this Penn State team may be taking a step back from where they have been in previous years, not including last year. But Penn State should be an interesting team to watch. Ole Miss should be another interesting team to watch. I have them at 23. Listen, if Matt Corral can become a household name, if guys like John Rice Plumlee can also step up and continue doing, and if they can find a receiver to replace Elijah Moore, this team is sitting pretty on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, they have work to do, but they still have a lot of great players on that side of the ball. It just needs to just overall make some improvements. But this Ole Miss team, I think, can be a real threat in the SEC. Maybe not a serious threat to push maybe towards guys like Alabama or Georgia or teams like that. But I think Ole Miss is going to be able to pull off an upset or two this season. They certainly have the pieces. Be excited to watch them in the spring. Washington, I have at number 22. This team is going to be sneaky good. There are a lot of transfers coming in and out of Washington, most notably at the quarterback position. I believe also they have a running back coming in. I'm not quite sure on that, though. But this team looked great last year. Quite a surprise were the Washington Huskies last year. And this year, I don't expect much different. I maybe expect Washington to be a consistent top 25 team and start to get back to the level that they were at in 2016 and those years. I don't think they're going to be nearly as good, but I think they can still be a solid team and maybe might be a threat in the Pac-12. We'll wait and see. Texas, I do have at 21. Hey, Sam Ellinger's gone. Keontae Ingram has also transferred out. So they're going to have to replace guys there. But Texas bringing in Steve Sarkisian as the head coach, I think it's a risky move to bring in Steve Sarkisian. A lot of people like the hire. I don't quite get the firing of Tom Herman. That's just me personally. I feel like Texas is going to be pretty decent next year, but I think Texas is also going to be one of those teams that's hit or miss. I really think Texas is either going to do pretty well or not so well. So I have them here at 21. I'm confident in Steve Sarkisian, although I'm not really confident in Texas and the Texas Longhorns roster. Moving on to 20 through 16. At number 20, I have Coastal Carolina. This team should still be good yet again. This team is returning their quarterback. This team is returning a lot of seniors if they do end up deciding to come back. This team is going to be another real threat. Now, are they going to make the push like they did this year next year? Well, maybe. Coastal Carolina might be able to go on a nice run. They do play a game against Kansas again. I know that's Kansas, but it's still a Power 5 team when you look at Coastal Carolina. But this team has a lot of talent. They should be back. You lose C.J. Maribel at running back, one of the more underrated running backs, just because he's in the Sun Belt and no one ever talks about the Sun Belt besides App State. But Coastal Carolina should still be a fairly good team. At number 19, I have Iowa. Spencer Petras and this team surprised me last year. If you'll remember, I didn't give Iowa a whole lot of credit in the offseason. I didn't think they were going to be that good. I didn't think Petras was going to be that good. And Iowa's returning a lot of pieces. They're returning either Tyler Goodson or Mekhi Sargent. I believe it's Tyler Goodson who's coming back. Again, Spencer Petras is coming back. Lots of pieces on that defense is coming back. That defense was pretty darn good last year. Iowa should be another pretty good team in the Big Ten. We'll have to see how much Spencer Petras can develop over the spring. At number 18, I have the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Yes, this team is going to be dangerous. They are one of the top teams in returning production in this year. That includes the return of quarterback Levi Lewis, the return of some key pieces at wide receiver. Now, of course, you do lose your running back, but he was one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the Sun Belt. So you lose him. That's going to be a big loss. But other than that, Louisiana, I believe, is returning over 93%, somewhere around there, of their offensive production from last year. Again, one of the top teams in returning production. They should have no problem getting back to where they were at this year. Louisiana is going to be playing at a high level. And they have a game against Texas. So that should be an interesting one to watch. Number 17, I have Florida. I'm very shaky on this Florida team. This Florida team is losing a lot. Of course. Kyle Pitts, gone. Lots of pieces on wide receiver, gone. There are some key guys on defense, gone. But they have a solid recruiting class coming in. So Florida, again, like Texas, I think either going to be one of those teams that surprises you or disappoints you. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of middle ground with Florida. I'm going to put them here at number 17. Number 16, I have USC. There's a lot to like with this USC team, although I'm not really quite confident in their defense quite yet. We know what their offense can put up with Keaton Slavis and company. He is returning, but the defense struggled against teams last year that USC should have been able to beat pretty handedly. Arizona State was a one-point game. They didn't look that good. There were a couple of other close games for USC. They're just the defense is what's holding me back on USC. I think this can be a top 10 team, but they definitely need to have their defense start playing at a higher level. Moving on to the top 15, I have LSU at 15. That might surprise quite a fair few people just because LSU was not as good as people expected them to be. In fact, they were horrible. They were nowhere near what people expected them to be. I have confidence in LSU coming into this next season. Miles Brennan, I think, is only going to get better. You lose even more pieces on the wide receiver. Of course, now Jamar Chase is going to be gone. Thaddeus Moss, I believe, is also going to be gone. If not, he left last year. But you have some key guys on defense coming back. I believe Derek Stingley is coming back as well, so that is huge for LSU. I think this LSU team is going to pull it together this year. I really do. 15 might be too high, but also with the recruiting class that LSU has coming in, I think they're going to be a team to watch out for. Miami, I have at number 14. Again, a team that maybe might be rated a little too high, but I have confidence in Miami. After figuring out what the heck offense was last year, they pretty much have everybody returning except for their tight end, Brevin Jordan. That's about it. De'Aaron King's coming back. Cameron Harris is coming back. Lots of other pieces at wide receiver are coming back. And besides Greg Rousseau and another defensive lineman, their defense is pretty intact as well. So Miami could make a solid run for the ACC title next year. It's going to be a very interesting season to watch for Miami. If their offense can continue to play at a high level and their defense can start looking like the Miami defense that we've seen in past years, this is going to be a really good team. Number 13, I have Oregon. Again, with these bottom three teams, 13, 14, 15, people might say I've rated them too high, or they're right about where they need to be. But Oregon, I have at number 13. You lose quarterback Tyler Shutt. That's tough. They're going to have to find a quarterback to come in there, but they still have a lot of good pieces, a lot of good recruits coming in. I know they also lose Thibodeau and Penei Sewell to the draft, but I still think Oregon, or if not, Thibodeau's coming back, but I do believe that Oregon is going to be a very, very good team come 2021. Number 12, I have Wisconsin. So they are putting all of their faith in Graham Mertz. Of course, we know Jack Cohn is off to Notre Dame. They're coming up later. But we already knew that. Jack Cohn off to Notre Dame. So putting all the faith in Graham Mertz. It was a disappointing season last year for Wisconsin. It really was. But they also didn't really have a true number one running back like Wisconsin usually does. Nakia Watson might provide that. There are lots of guys that could provide that for Wisconsin coming this year. I think Wisconsin's going to be a solid team. They have some pretty decent recruits coming into play for Paul Chryst as well. I think they're going to have a bounce back season. That's why they're at number 12. Number 11, I have is Indiana. Yes, I do believe the Hoosiers are going to be back. No, I don't think that was a one-off fluky season. This team is for real. Lots of guys are coming back, including Michael Penix. They're going to be coming off, he's going to be coming off that surgery on his ACL. So we'll have to see if he can play in spring ball at all. But if Michael Penix can come back healthy, rear and ready to go, this Indiana team is going to be nasty with the wide receiver core that they still have, with the way Stevie Scott emerged last year. And if this defense can continue to play at a high level, this was one of the most underrated defenses in the entire country last year. The defense can continue to play at a high level. I think Indiana truly is going to be the second best team in the Big Ten behind a team you're going to see here in a little bit. We're going to move into the top 10 here. At number 10, you'll see I have Notre Dame. I couldn't decide whether to put Indiana or Notre Dame here, but I give Notre Dame the slight edge because they made the playoff the year before. So, of course, Ian Book gone. They're going to bring in Jack Cohn, as we just talked about a little bit ago. I also believe Kyron Williams is coming back. Lots of pieces coming back for Notre Dame. I don't think this team is going to be as dominant as they were last year. Notre Dame's got a hard schedule. Notre Dame's got a hard schedule. If you go look at their schedule, which I will start making predictions for in June, those are coming up. Man, it's already March, coming up on us fast. Notre Dame should still play at a high level this year. I'm confident in what Brian Kelly has cooking up there in South Bend. Notre Dame has a game against the number 9 team in the country, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they should be good. Now, I did not think Cincinnati was going to be this high earlier on because I thought Desmond Ridder was out. Desmond Ridder is coming back for Cincinnati. That is absolutely huge for the Bearcats, who have games against Notre Dame and Indiana as well, teams that I've rated 10 and 11. So if you think Notre Dame's got a hard schedule, they also have to play Wisconsin, does Notre Dame. Take a look at Cincinnati. If they can take care of business with Notre Dame, Indiana, and then they can win the American Athletic with an undefeated record, we could be talking about Cincinnati in the playoffs if they look dominant enough and pass the eye test. This has happened to a group of 5 team before, where it was Houston, where they beat Oklahoma, they beat Louisville with a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in, I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of him, his name is Lamar Jackson. Yeah, kid's pretty good. But they beat Oklahoma, they beat Louisville with Lamar Jackson, but they just couldn't get it done in the American Athletic. That's what kept them out of the playoffs, did Houston. So if Cincinnati can do the same thing, except win games that they're supposed to win in the American Athletic, Cincinnati could make a real push for the playoffs. I'm thinking they're going to drop one of those 2 games, though. Just thinking off the top of my head right now, but Cincinnati should still be a very dangerous team under Luke Fickell. They're at number 9. Number 8 I have is Texas A&M. So you do have Kellen Mond leaving. The quarterback position is going to be a question for Texas A&M. It seems like they have a preliminary starter in there. Can't remember the kid's name right off the top of my head. But Texas A&M should still be a good team next year. Possibly, maybe could be the 2nd or 3rd best team in the SEC. This is going to be another solid team under Jimbo Fisher. I think the defense is going to improve, and if they can replace the offensive pieces that they lost, this is going to be an excellent team. Number 7 I have is North Carolina. This is a team that I'm taking a shot on here in this poll. They didn't look super impressive last year, although they were a very good team last year. They just didn't have the whole complete package that I think a lot of other people thought they would. Again, not a bad season for North Carolina at all. 8-3 in the regular season is nothing to complain about. I think we as fans just expected better from North Carolina, and I think this is the year that North Carolina can finally break out. You have Sam Howell coming back at quarterback, lots of good pieces coming back around him, and I think this defense is only going to improve. Mac Brown has something going here at North Carolina. He has something going. If North Carolina can continue to play outstanding offense and improve on the defense, the experience that Sam Howell brings with just his remarkable, crazy athleticism, playmaking, and stats in general, and the guys around him can just take it a step up, this North Carolina team is going to be very dangerous. Number 6, I have Iowa State. Man, talk about rebuilding. Matt Campbell is building something special here at Iowa State. Brock Purdy is coming back. You have the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year coming back. Breece Hall, I also believe, is coming back, the leading rusher in America from last year. This team has all the pieces it needs to go on a playoff run. I think they're going to be in the playoff conversation, and they only have to get past one other team in the Big 12 that you're going to see coming up here in the top 5. But Iowa State looking really, really good. I've been really high on this team for the past couple of years, and now they're finally towards the top. I'm really excited to see how Iowa State plays in spring training and come when the regular season starts. Moving into the top 5, the 5 teams you expected are up here, but in what order you might ask? This is the order that I picked out. Number 5, I have Ohio State. Chris Olave surprised everyone with coming back in that defense while it was young last year, is losing some pieces at linebacker. If they can replace that, Ohio State should have a solid defense. That offensive position, though, as far as running backs, Master Teague should be coming back. You lose Trey Sermon, but you got Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson. Mayan Williams, of course, was a freshman last year, and Travion Henderson, the number 1 running back in the country. Dude reminds me a lot of Carlos Hyde. He's going to be coming in, but the quarterback position is going to be the big difference maker for this Ohio State team. Right now it's looking like it's going to be C.J. Stroud, but they also have guys like Miller, and they also have Kyle McCord coming in as a freshman. So the quarterback position is going to be fun to watch. I'm going to go ahead and just give it to C.J. Stroud. When Justin Fields went out for a play in the playoff semifinal, who'd they trust to go in? C.J. Stroud. The thing that I'll be interested to watch is no quarterback threw a pass last year besides Justin Fields that I can remember. Maybe it was like 1 or 2 per. But it wasn't anything crazy like they threw 15 passes where you got a pretty decent sample size. They didn't throw any or barely any passes. So I'll be interested to see how Ohio State handles the situation in the quarterback room. Number 4, I have Georgia. Same conversation with Georgia that we have every year. Is the quarterback going to be elite? And they have JT Daniels returning. So they have a returning starter, sort of. I don't know. I've never been too high on JT Daniels. I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's college elite, though. But Georgia still should have one of the best defenses in the country, as they usually do. Lots of good offensive pieces around them. Georgia should be a solid team if that quarterback position gets filled. Same conversation we have with Georgia every single year, it seems like. Number 3 is Oklahoma. This team was disappointing, I think, to say the least, last year. With the 2 quick losses in the beginning and the way that Spencer Rattler just struggled, everyone wrote off that Oklahoma team from week 4 or week 5, whenever it was. They started season 1 and 2, came back, were able to win the Big 12, avenging their loss to Iowa State. And Oklahoma found themselves right outside the playoff conversation. I think they're going to find themselves squarely in the playoff conversation. I really do. I think this Oklahoma team, as of right now, is my pick to win the Big 12. With Spencer Rattler coming back, a lot of pieces around him coming back, and that defense should only just get better. Oklahoma's going to be a team you need to watch out for. Alabama is at number 2. They have a game with Miami this year. Could be an interesting game. Alabama number 2 over Oklahoma, although it's close. I do give them that national championship bump. Just how I do my polls. So Alabama there at number 2. Hey, this should be another great team. Quarterback, probably going to end up being Bryce Young. You're losing Devontae Smith. You're going to lose Najee Harris as well. But it's Alabama. They're always going to have playmakers coming in. The number 1 rated recruiting class. What else is new? Alabama should be a solid team. And number 1 I have is Clemson. So Clemson is a team that I feel like as of right now is sitting like the best team in the country. Of course, DJ Uiagalelei is going to be the quarterback. That's a mouthful, I know. Trust me, we're all going to learn how to say it in the offseason. It's okay. You're going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. We're going to get through it. DJ Uiagalelei. No idea how many times I've practiced that name. Anyway, with him at quarterback and the recruiting that Clemson always seems to have, Clemson should, again, just be a top team, top contender in the ACC. But again, what else is new? There you go. That is going to do it. I'll let you go ahead and look at my top 5 while I do my outro. If you enjoyed, leave a like, hit the subscribe button down below, ring the bell, share the video, leave a comment. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I will see all of you guys in the next video. I'm going to start previewing some interesting things to watch during spring football. That'll go through the month of March. Goodbye.